Okay, so let's go again. Okay. So Purim Katan is a time to really understand and appreciate the story of the Megillah, because the story of the Megillah is actually it's actually a life lesson that helps us today. So what I want to focus on is one little episode that takes place in the Megillah, which is when Haman comes in to knock on the door of Achashverosh. And what he wants to tell Achashverosh is that he says, he tells Achashverosh, he says, I want to hang Mordechai on the gallows. And in the middle of the night there, Achashverosh has had a dream. And Achashverosh's dream was that, well, actually, the other way around. And he says, I was actually thinking about rewarding Mordechai. But he doesn't want to tell this to Haman directly. So instead, he says to Haman, he says, tell me, what should we do with someone who the king wishes to honor? And Haman right away thinks to himself, well, who would the king wish to honor, if not me? So he says, great, let me take a break from what I was thinking about telling you. And I think that whoever the king wishes to honor, what you should do is take a horse that the king rode on, put the guy on the horse, and you should ride this guy on the horse and say, this is what should be done to the man who the king wishes to honor. And he says, I want you to do that right away. Take a horse. Achashverosh says, take the horse and the royal garments. I want you to do this to Mordechai. The term Achashverosh uses is, he says, Maher kachet levush v'tasus kasher dibarta. Take the horse, take the garment, and quickly go do this. And what I want to focus on today is that word quickly. Why is it important and significant that he says to do this quickly? And what's the relevance to us in our lives? This guy came over to me. He was, at the time, he wasn't doing well in business. I'm not sure why, but when people are doing well in business, they don't come over to me. Then I have to go over to them. But when people are struggling in business, then they come over. So the guy came over and he said, I have a problem. I'm a businessman and I have a company. And for some reason, I don't know why, but all my friends are successful. And I'm struggling. And for years and years and years, I've been struggling and I don't know what to do. And finally, after all these years, I solved the problem. And I didn't solve the problem. I struggled so much and my company closed down. So I opened up a new company. And one of my friends gave me, he believed in me, believed in my company, and he wanted to help me out. So he gave me a major account. He's got this company, I'm doing stuff for him, and it's mamish, my whole business, 85% of my business comes from this guy. And for a few years, we've been working together. And I've been delivering a real good product. But it's true. Because I am who I am, I need to make a little more money than most people need to make. So I charge a little bit more. This guy got in someone to become director of operations of his company, because his company became very big. So until now, I was talking to him as a friend, and now he said to me, I don't have a choice, right? I'm running a big company, so you now have to deal with this director of operations. So I started to deal with this person, and what do I discover? It's not easy, because what she's doing is looking at the exact numbers and saying, I don't care how good the product is, at the end of the day, I'm paying a lot more than I should be paying. I'm like, yes, because I have a lot of tuitions to pay. I have 9 children, and I have a lot of stuff going on. But she's looking at the bottom line. So finally, she tried to get all my prices. She compared my prices to some other companies, and she realized that, nope, sorry. So I was summarily dismissed. And I came over to my friend and I said to him, I told him what happened. I said, you got to do something for me because my whole livelihood comes from you and it's your company and you have the ability to do something, so please help me. He said to me, I would love to help you, but I'm not involved in the company anymore because I hired this other person because I can't be involved in the day-to-day nitty-gritty details of what I do. This other person's involved. So he said, okay. So I said, everything's from Hashem. Whatever Hashem wants, that's what's going to be. And I just let it slide. But the truth is, I'm really, really down. I don't know what to do. So I went to some of my other friends. And what's amazing is that some people, like, they fly in private jets. Whenever they go somewhere, they don't just go to Florida. That's not, right? Not prestigious. They have to go, when they go to Florida or Colorado, wherever they're going, they fly in a private jet. They're going to make themselves, feel good. And it's very difficult for them to understand and appreciate, these are my best friends growing up, that I don't have $2,000. I don't have it. And I'm trying to ask them to help me out and give me a business and give me some parnasa, give me a livelihood, not a handout, just help me to make money in my company. And somehow I feel that my friends are not friends and nobody actually cares and nobody's really interested. And I'm in the dumps and they're flying their private jets. And this one friend who could have been, like, if I would have asked him for a donation to give me an extra $20,000, he probably would give it to me. But because I asked him to give it to me as a business, he's like, no. Business is one thing and charity is something else. So I don't know what to do. So I'm sitting with a guy, I said, you obviously didn't come to me for money, did you? That won't fly. But he says, chizuk. I need chizuk. I want to feel, give me some strength. What should I do? What do we do when life doesn't go the way we want it to go? And when we need extra strength deep inside to discover extra strength. And we need the power of Hashem inside of us. What do we do? So today's Purim Cotton, let's go to the Megillah to find some strength to get us through anything. Because here's the story. When you have the strength to get through anything, the anything disappears. It becomes easy and simple. It's all about what goes on over here. Yep, that is the key. It's not about how much money you make or don't make. Because you know what happens when you make a lot of money? When you make $1 billion? You keep on thinking to yourself, it's not fair. How come I didn't make it into the Forbes 500? I'm a billionaire. Everyone else thinks of me as amazing. And how come the other guy has 2 billion and it's just not fair? And I don't know, he has 17 homes and I only have 12. And it's not fair. And if you think this is not real, that's what happens to people. We never get to discover inner serenity. And the place to discover inner serenity is here and now. And you don't need to wait for the next exciting thing to happen. It's in front of you. It's happening to you now. The guy who wants to kill us, the guy who wanted to kill us back then and still seeks to destroy us, his name is Haman. That Haman is not just an external force, he's actually an internal force inside of us. Now what we want to see today is how Haman is actually your best friend. He's not your worst enemy, he's your best friend. Why? Very simple. Because today's Purim. You can't make a Purim without a Haman, right? It's like try to tell a story without a villain. There's no point if there's no villain. The villain is the key to any success of any story. You need to have someone who's antagonistic, who's fighting you, and that person actually brings you to the most amazing places you could ever be. In the story of the Megillah, what happened was, what did Haman do for us? Haman took us from being people who went to the Jews went to the meal of Achashverosh, they went to the feast. Achashverosh invited everyone and he invited all the Jews and the Jews all came. They came in droves, and what did they do when they arrived at the feast? The problem was nehenu miseudato shel oto rasha. They enjoyed the feast. They had a good time. They felt, wow, we've been invited to the feast. And by the end of the Megillah, these were people who accepted the Torah in a way that they never had accepted it at Matan Torah. Purim became a greater day than Matan Torah, because Matan Torah we accepted Hashem, but only in a very superficial level. And the real acceptance took place in Purim. Who caused that to happen? Haman. Because you know how Jews are? If you want to kill me, I'll fight you. Like, don't you dare tell me that I can't practice my Torah. You know the best way to get rid of Jews is? Do nothing. Do nothing, they'll disappear. We always see like the Arabs in Israel don't realize that they're giving us the greatest gift. If you want to destroy Chas v'Shalom the Jewish people, open all the borders. Jordan, Syria, Lebanon, right, Egypt, just open the borders. Guarantee you, within no time at all, you'll lose all the Jewish people there. Chas v'Shalom. But what do they do instead? They fight us. Fighting me? Dare you fight me? So I'm going to fight you back. And that finds the strength inside of us. But we want to take the story to a different Haman. A Haman who lives inside here and here. A different kind of Amalek. The Amalek who seeks to destroy us, to annihilate us, to make us, put us down. The Amalek who doesn't let you live your life as you want it to live. That Amalek is deadlier than an external Amalek, because he lives inside you and he's a part of you, and sometimes you can't even differentiate between him and you. Who is Amalek? What does Amalek want to do? Amalek is Reishis Goyim Amalek. He's the beginning of all the Goyim, all the nations. Now every day when we daven, we speak of the 7 nations. We go for the Knani, Chiti, Amoyri, Prizi, Yevusi, all those. There are 7 nations. When you want to conquer Eretz Yisrael, you want to conquer the land of Israel, there are 7 nations that are going to fight you. Amalek is the source of all those nations. Who are the nations that want to conquer you? Those nations are not just physical nations external to you. They are 7 forces that live and are embedded inside you. And if you pay attention, you actually can notice the 7 forces that seek to destroy you. Who are they? 7 negative feelings, primary feelings. There are 7 types that reside inside you. I'll tell you the main ones. Who are the main ones? Anger and sadness, okay? Jealousy, anxiety, right? Fear. Very good. They are Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes are the 3 ones and the 3 primary ones. Which is, Chesed is kindness, love, gone wrong. Each one is gone wrong. What's love gone wrong? Sometimes you're not supposed to love. You're supposed to stay away, actually. Passion, addiction is love gone wrong. When you really, really, really want something and you have a strong desire towards it, that's your chesed gone wrong. Gvura gone wrong is anxiety. When you're afraid and worried and fearful of something, and you're scared for no reason. That anxiety, that is Gvura gone wrong. So the 7 nations we want to conquer are these nations, and all the different midos, they can be categorized in 7 families. And each one seeks to destroy you and to kill and annihilate who you are. You see, we want, as human beings, you ever notice that we want to just coast, just cruise? You ever say to your kids, like, why can't you just be normal? Normal is a funny thing to be. Normal is just like, listen, just normal, you want to say, just be like me. And you're like, maybe not. But normal means, right, that you just don't do anything crazy, right? Don't push this way, don't push that way, just be normal. You don't need to be depressed, everything's fine now. You don't need to be anxious, it's all good. and you don't get to fall into your addiction. Just enjoy, normal. Why is it that human beings are so jumpy all the time? We just can't stand in one place, right? Why is it that we are always gravitating this way, that way? It's almost like the 7 nations inhabit us and they rule us. The reason is because the 7 nations are actually 7 holy midos, 7 holy attributes. Being normal is not an option. Forget it. It isn't possible to be normal, aka stagnant. There's no way to be stagnant. It's not going to happen, not in your lifetime, not in my lifetime. Stagnant, never. What it is to know how to control and how to operate with your midos, your emotions, which are actually your best friends. Now, in davening, we always talk about the first 3 of our emotions. What are they called? In the holy side, they are called Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. So contrasted with the negative emotions, the positive ones are Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, and the full 7. On Sukkot, we bring the Ushpizin, that's really all 7 of them. I'll tell you in a moment what that is. Avraham Avinu, right? When you daven and you say Baruch Atah Hashem Elokei Avraham Elokei Yitzchak Elokei Yaakov, that is not only history. It's me trying to discover a depth inside me. It's me trying to find my Avraham, my Yitzchak, and my Yaakov. And who's my Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov? Avraham is my love. Control and direct my passion correctly. It is impossible to not be passionate. You don't have a choice in life. Get over that one. You will be passionate about something. Either it's going to be an addiction or passion. You choose. But it cannot be anything. So what's controlled love? It's when you yearn for something greater. Now let me just explain why this works this way. The reason is because human beings are limited and mortal. And our creator, Hashem, is unlimited. And Hashem imbues himself inside of us. What that leaves us with is a very uncomfortable setting. That on the one hand, I'm connected to the unlimited, and on the other hand, I'm a limited being. So as a limited mortal, my desire is to be attached and connected to the unlimited. I want Hashem, I want God in my life. Every time you feel, every negative emotion inside you is a calling of your soul that's looking to find Hashem. Your soul is just looking for God and can't find Him. So it's yearning. Trying to find God. Oh, find me Hashem. Where is Hashem? Inside. So what the soul does is it yearns, right? It yearns to escape, it yearns to go higher, it yearns to be attached to Hashem, it yearns to be attached to God. That yearning is your chesed, that yearning is your love. That's love when it's healthy, right? Ahava, which is healthy. If you don't train someone with that love, what happens to them? So he's sitting over there and he's like, but I want something else and I can't just be here. I can't just live. So what's going to happen to that person? Addiction. When someone says I have an addiction, you know that that's a soul crying out, I'm not willing to stay status quo. I can't be stuck over here. I want something deeper. That's your Ava. What's your Yitzchak, your Yira? Oh, when you find that you get a connection to Hashem, you're like, wow, so Hashem is right here. When you realize that Hashem is inside me and like He's everywhere, because when you love Hashem, you want Him, you want a connection with Him. So when you feel that connection, you're like, wow. And you feel the awe, the awesomeness of who I am and what's being demanded of me and what's this all about. That awesomeness, that's the feeling of Yira. When a person tells you, I have anxieties, I'm scared. I'm petrified. What are you scared of? If you listen to the news all the time, you're going to be scared of world war breaking out every day, any day. That is really a calling of your soul, which is saying, let's not stick around with status quo. There's so much more available to you. It's your neshama calling out, I want Hashem. That's your Yitzchak calling out. And the realization that, oh my gosh, do I deserve to be attached to Hashem for who I am? And in comes the third midah, which is Yaakov. What does Yaakov say? Yaakov is when you realize, I have a neshama, I have a soul inside of me. And my soul wants a connection with Hashem. But Hashem is so awesome, how dare I even ask for such a connection? I don't deserve that connection. But then you flip the script and you say, I don't deserve a connection, but Hashem is inside of me. Hashem put himself inside me. Nebuch. I feel so sorry for my neshama, for my little soul. I saw a great picture on someone's status. What an amazing like expression. It was two guys, basically, they were the images were two people sitting on the ground, each crouching, and they're facing opposite each other. Like that. And the images are made out of ropes and shackles. And you can see two people who had a fight and had an argument between them. It's a relationship gone wrong. And they sitting there facing the opposite directions. And inside of each one is a little child. So the image, a little kid, a baby, and there's a little boy and a girl, and the babies are facing each other. And you have this two guys having this argument between them, and inside the core of each one of them is a little baby trying to reach out to the other one. Hi. Isn't that true about what happens in life? That's because each one of us has a neshama, a soul inside of us. And the soul wants Hashem. It's like, give me God. And the soul's like a little baby inside of you. And the midah of Yaakov is Rachmanus. So what? The midah of Yaakov is Rachmanus. What is it? It's feeling compassion for your little baby inside you who wants the real deal, who wants Hashem, who wants the truth, the genuineness. So there's Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov inside of us. And when we daven, we say, Elekei Avraham, Elekei Yitzchak, Elekei Yaakov. Hashem, allow my midos, my emotions, to express themselves as they are. Allow me to feel you. So I should feel the love, I should feel an awe, and I should feel a compassion. Because if I don't, my midos are going to go crazy. And if I do, they'll also go crazy. So you got to understand. It's not like you're going to be normal. You're going to be a passionate individual. I can't help it. I'm going to be passionate. The question is, passionate about what? That's the shayla. And we daven every day. We ask Hashem to direct our midos, there's 7 in total, to direct our emotions the correct way. The Torah tells us, Ki chelek Hashem amoy. Hashem and his people are one. Hashem, the name of Hashem is spelled Yud K Vav K. Right? When Hashem says, I'm a part of you, what he means to say is, and ready for some depth over here, what he means to say is, not just, I'm with you. He's saying, you and me are one. I am inside you. I'm not separate from you. I'm inside you. If you want to understand the psyche, the psychology of a human being and how we operate exactly the same way as God does, no less. The same way as Hashem is comprised of Yud, K, Vav, K, so too are we comprised of those four levels. Now we'll start in the middle with the Vav. What's the Vav? Vav is Gematria 6. Vav is your emotions. There's 6 emotions, and the 7th one is the Hey. Every one of us has emotions, feelings make us tick. Who decides how you feel? Where do you take your feelings from? Where you want to take your feelings from is your intellect, right? You understand something, and then you feel it. That's called Yud K Vav K. Yud K is your intellectual understanding. Vav K are your emotions. And if you look at the shape of the letters, it's exactly aligned with the shape of the letters. What's a Yud? A Yud is a tiny little dot, right? When you learn something, the first thing that happens, the first order of the day in your intellectual study is a little dot, which is, we call it, wow, the penny dropped. Click, got it. How do we study? How do you learn something? Whenever you learn, right? I don't know something, I don't understand. Let's say when you're learning the shir, right? We're learning, we have a class, we're learning something. And like, what's going on here? And then suddenly you're like, oh wow. And some incredible point just seeps in. What's that called? Penny drops, got it. It's called lightning strikes. Because suddenly your whole being is lit up. When you get a new idea, ideas can light us up. Can you see why that's a yud? It's a little dot that lights you up. What happens next very often? After you get a great idea, you feel, wow, that's incredible. What do? Nothing, we walk away. And what happens then? Missed opportunity. You forget. Because just because you had a lightning for one moment and you got this idea, wow, if you don't integrate it actively into your life, you're going to forget it. It's exactly what's going to happen. How do you integrate into your life? You know what you do? You sit down and you think to yourself, what? You hook it. How do you hook it? Before the vav. Before the between the yud and the vav is a hey. What's a hey? You know that all letters in the Torah are yuds. Longer, shorter. That's how, when you write in the Torah, a hey is an expanded yud this way and that way, and a little vav on the bottom. What you're doing is expanding your lightning. So I have an idea, wow, and then I'm like, 1 second, so that means that what I always thought was like this is actually like that, and you think it out. Right? It's called Chachma Ubina. Or otherwise put, the Yud is the father, the Hey is the mother. What does the father do? The father, he basically spends one moment, gives something, and then we don't need him anymore. And he leaves the mother with 9 months of pregnancy and nursing and all that, right? The Hey is much bigger, much more than the Yud. You can't do anything without a father. It doesn't work. You need a father. But the father is just a little dot, which, once I got it, then I integrate it, and I don't need you anymore. Intellect is the same way as a father and a mother, Chachma and Bina. You have a little idea, then you integrate it into yourself. That's the Bina. You get it? Yes? What happens next? Fathers and mothers get together, and after they have, they together, they hopefully have children. In your soul, in your psyche, what are the children? If you have an idea and you actually thought about and developed the idea from a yud to a hey, what happens next? You feel. Feelings are children. Because feeling comes from intellect. Follow? Ideas. All ideas have children. Feelings. You know what orphans are? Feelings which don't know where they came from. We have a lot of orphans in our lives. So when your feelings can trace themselves back to the parents they came from, now you can control the feeling. If you have an anxiety and you don't know why you have an anxiety, go back to the intellect that led to it and understand where it came from, and then right? Work with him. That's the Vav. The Vav is the 6 emotions. That leads into the Hey. After you have a feeling, what happens next? Let's go through the process, right? Think about it. You'll see this is true because it's what you do. You have an idea, pops into your head, great. You actually don't walk away, you think about it. That's your Hey. Then you feel it. Wow, that's incredible. And that leads to feelings. So you feel whichever one of the feelings you feel. Now what happens with the feeling? What do you do next?
Reaction.
What's reaction?
You're going to do something about it.
We have 3 reactions. Before you do things about it, you have to think. We have thought, speech, and action. That's the Hey. Thought is the top. Speech is, and then action is the left side. Right? Thought, speech, action. Which means if I have a feeling, I think about it, I speak about it, and I act on it. And that's the Hey at the bottom. The totality of a human being is someone who has Yud K Vav K built into him. Hashem created us in His image. It's quite fascinating. I mean, this would be very Kabbalistic if you wouldn't know it to be true. It's just, yeah, that's the way we operate. We have ideas. Ideas are divided into Yud and Hey, which is the Chachma and the Bina. That leads into the Vav, which is the emotions, the expression of emotions. And then that leads into the Hey, the thought, speech, and action. What does it say about Amalek? What does Amalek want to do? The Torah tells us, this is the parsha we read by Shabbos Zachar before Purim. It says, Zachor et asher asa lecha Amalek. Remember what he did to you. Karcha baderech. And then at the end it says, Ki yad al case ka, yod al case yud ke, milchama la Hashem ba'Amalek. Hashem puts his hand on the case, on the chair, on the throne of Yud K. And the rabbis explain that Hashem says, so long as there's that guy, Amalek, Ein Hashem Shalem, my name can never be complete. I'll be a Yud K, I'll never be a Vav K. Because of Amalek. What does Amalek do? He blocks the Yud K from coming down to the Vav K. What does that mean? It's when you have ideas and you're not able to integrate them into your life, and so your emotions become orphans because they don't have a solid base from which to come from. So what do we do when we have no emotions? Meaning, you learn something, you have intellect, and you learn something, and you say, yeah, but so what, right? The age of rationalism. So I'm like, who says? That's the way it is. Maybe Amalek creates doubt. He sows doubt in you.
Amalek governs the emotion part?
Amalek blocks the emotions.
Right, I'm saying he governs it, meaning like he is controlling.
Right. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to block you. You want to have a feeling? No. So what? Amalek is about blocking the intellect that it shouldn't reach the emotions. You should have great ideas and they shouldn't be integrated into actual real living. We have a generation that suffers from that. And because our emotions are stuck, we want to feel, so what do? We manufacture feelings. Like you go to a movie, and the purpose of the movie is to feel scared, and then to live with this person, and the whole thing doesn't even exist. It's an emotion that doesn't have an intellectual basis to it. That's what a movie is. It didn't happen. What's wrong? You're living in a fantasy world, and it doesn't happen, and there's nothing there. And our whole lives are all that. It's all about emotions. The whole marketing of everything that goes on in the world today is all about get you to feel an emotion where there's no intellectual basis to it. And what that does to us is all negativity that comes from that, because emotions as they are supposed to come from an intellectual basis. See, human beings are very emotional beings. You're supposed to get scared. You're not scaring. Being scared, being afraid is part of the human condition. It is critical for a human being to be scared. Of what? of Hashem. If you don't feel awe of Hashem, you don't get moving in life. We need to feel awe, absolutely. It's just a question of awe of what. So if you have a proper system where the intellect is directed into the emotion and one leads to the other and they flow, so what happens? You become a healthy person. When the intellect and the emotions are disconnected from each other, then your emotions have to find their own story to tell. What does Amalek do? Like, you know what Amalek did the first time around? What did he do? The Jews came out of Egypt. Everybody was petrified of them. Petrified. Nobody would touch them after what happened. What does Amalek do? Attack them. Why? He lost. By the way, he lost totally. He was decimated. But he actually won. Because he said, so what? That's what he did. You know, I always think about Yimach Shmoy, may his name be obliterated and erased. But Hitler, when he was losing the battle, there was only one thing he needed to do. Get a few more Jews. So there was nothing more important than getting the Jews. He could have maybe even won the battle had he directed his forces to and his resources to fight. Instead, he wanted nothing more than to get more Jews. Do you see the Amalek? What's the Amalekness? What it says is, all I want is that the Yud K should not be integrated into the Vav K. And for us, it's hard work, because to integrate your intellect and emotions means that you want to study, you go to a class like this, we learn, we study, and then you want to develop a feeling. How do you develop a feeling? It's called davening. When we daven, we develop emotions. We think about Hashem, we think about His relationship with us. That's what the whole davening is, that. We build a connection to Hashem, and from within that connection, like how Hashem and us have a bond with each other. And once we discover that bond, if you think about it and you meditate and reflect on it, you will feel a love for Hashem. Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov will result. Your Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, your feelings of love, of awe, of compassion for your neshama, that's what's going to happen in it. When we don't daven, we become stale. When we become stale, we still need to feel those feelings, so we look for elsewhere, other things, other ways to feel those feelings. And that's the backdrop of the story of Haman. What does Hashem say? Ki yod al case Yud K. When Haman prevents and blocks Yud K from coming into Vav K, Ein Hashem Sholem, the name of Hashem cannot be complete so long as Haman is around. What do I need to do? What I need to do is raise my hand. Yod al case Yud K. Hashem says, raise the hand and you can get rid of Amalek. What is the hand? In the Torah we speak about three hands. Yad, Hayad, Hayad HaGdola, we say in davening. Vayar Yisrael es Hayad HaGdola. What's the Yad HaGdola? Gedola is the greatness of Hashem. That's Hashem's kindness, where you feel Hashem's passion. We speak about Hayad HaChazaka. Hayad HaChazaka is when you feel Hashem's awe and might. But we're not talking about Hayad over here. There's another place where it doesn't say Hayad, it says Yad. Ki Yad al case Yud K, not Hayad. We say, Uvenei Yisrael Yoitzim beyad Rama. What's a Yad Rama? Uplifted hand. How do you uplift yourself? Uplifting happens when you look around at life and you say, there's got to be more to this. There's got to be more. Like, it can't be that this is the whole life and you're looking for more. You're passionate about getting more. That's the Yad Rama. Rama means to lift me up, leharim, pick me up. There's a hand that picks you up. David HaMelech says it in Tehillim. He says, LeDavid, Elecha Hashem nafshi esa. I throw myself at you, Hashem. I want a relationship, so I throw myself at you, Hashem. It's a very deep, passionate yearning that a soul has for God. Any kid you see who's just stuck and angry and messed up and upset, it's nothing more than a calling of an neshama saying, I want more. Give me more. Give me Hashem. And what you want to do is discover Hashem inside of there. Ubnei Yisrael yoitzim b'yod Rama is not a story of how Bnei Yisrael escaped Mitzrayim way back when, not only, it's a story of how you and I rise above our challenges today. How do we rise? Any challenge that you have is not really a challenge, it's a calling of you wanting to get closer to Hashem. And all you want to do is say, Hashem, I feel you, I feel you, I feel you. And I feel the embrace of Hashem always, every step of the way. I feel Hashem is with me. What happens is, Amalek blocks you. If Amalek wouldn't block you, you know what would happen to us? Nothing. That's the problem. Amalek wouldn't block us. It would just be, okay, I'm not connected to Hashem. Right? We're supposed to be Yud Kei Vav Kei. Intellect leads to emotions. And I feel Hashem in my life. I feel it. And if I don't feel it, okay, I don't. What should I tell you? What Amalek does is, he says, anytime you don't feel it, I'm going to find you something negative to put in your life. I want to destroy everything. That's what Amalek does to us. And when he destroys us, what are we forced to do? We're forced to retreat and to recalibrate and to figure things out again. Every negative feeling you have is actually your Amalek. And what he's doing is he's calling you out to be better than you ever were before. That's what he's doing to you. He's saying, you're amazing, you're so unbelievable, you're so incredible, but you're stuck in a little rut. So I'm going to make you feel uncomfortable where you are. And what you want to do is flip that feeling and say, what this really is Hashem embracing me. So how do you flip a feeling? Anytime you're feeling, I'm just so angry, I'm so frustrated, recognize that, and you see there's a negative midah, right? There's a midah which is trying to bring me down. That's a Amalek, that's my Haman. And he's coming with a chutzpah, and he says, nah, just destroy. So when you see a child who's really mad, you say, okay, I recognize Haman, I see it there, but I know that inside there's a Yud Kei Vav Kei. And what I need to do is get a Yod al Kais Yud Kei. I need to pick a Yod Rama, a big hand to elevate you, to pick you up. How do you pick a big hand up? A bear hug. Bnei Yisrael yoitzim b'yod Rama. Bnei Yisrael escape all their problems, all their challenges, all their limitations, when you just put a hand, Yad Rama, and you lift them up. And then they escape. They rise above their challenges. So Haman comes to Achashverosh, and he's got this chutzpah. He says, yeah, sure, me. Right? That's like you see in the world today. What's your Haman? Your Haman calling you and saying, who cares? He brings you down. He makes you feel negative all the time. Achashverosh looks at Haman and he says, Achashverosh is Hashem, Kadosh Baruch Hu. And he talks to Haman and he says, what I want you to do, everything that you have, all your negative feelings, all the negative emotions, is actually there for you to put Mordechai on a horse and dress him up and take him to places he could never have gone before. When you look at your feeling, you look at your negative feeling, your negative Haman, and you put him on a horse, you say, wow, this is actually going to help me and get me better places than ever before. How do I do that? It's very simple. I recognize the feeling, I see that I have a feeling, and then I feel the embrace of Hashem. A guy called me yesterday, it was so nice. You know, he listened, I did a shir on Tefillah. So, whatever, the shir was on YouTube. And he called me up and says, I want to tell you, you know, I was just in such a rut, in such a, like, down. And then I listened, so I felt in davening, I felt like Hashem embracing me. So I just sat down in davening, and I put my talus over my head, and I just felt Hashem's energy in me, and I felt like Hashem is just giving me a hug. And you need more and more and more and more words in davening to feel Hashem embracing you. But as you feel that, you literally can feel an energy that descends into you and gives you koyach, gives you strength to go places you never went before. Achashverosh tells Haman, he says, you, Haman, you, the negative feeling, are going to carry Mordechai to a space where he never knew before. And here's the key word. He says, don't do it now, do it quickly. Maher kach et halevush ve'et hasus. What's the word maher? Why quickly?
Before you get cold,
Before Mashiach comes. You see, when Mashiach comes, we'll lose our best friend. He won't be there anymore. Es ruach hatumah arva min haaretz. There won't be any negativity. So there won't be any challenge anymore. So now what are you going to do? You won't have this Haman who's all the time trying to bring you down. So everything will be great and amazing. He says, quick, find the negativity and quickly transform him and flip him, because this is your opportunity. Maher kach et halevush ve'et hasus. One day we won't have it. One day it'll just be easy. And when Mashiach comes, that ben benken noch die Golus tag, we will yearn for the days of Golus. We will yearn for those days when we had an exile, when those things were difficult. Because when things are difficult, when you're finding it tough, you can feel Hashem's embrace and you get elevated like. Because Haman carries Mordechai on a horse. Your Haman is your negative feeling. Your negative feelings, your negative experiences, your children, and everything that you have. Never get scared of a negative feeling. Just look at him. Don't tell God how difficult your life is, right? Don't tell. Say your friends are all happy and wealthy and doing well and successful, etc., etc. Yep. I get it. Amazing. And you are suffering and life is so messed up and everything. Guess what? You're in the best possible space ever. Because all you need is to feel a surge of energy from Hashem. Daven, and you feel like, oh yeah, my life is bad. I have no money, I have no parnasa, and this best friend of mine just took away all my money. And now you feel like I'm just in the hands of Hashem. Because Haman says, I want to kill the Jews. That's what he wants to say. Chas v'shalom. I want to annihilate them. That's what he thinks he's saying. But when he says it to Achashverosh, to Hashem, he says, no, you're not here to kill them. You don't get it. You're here to elevate them, to pick them up on a horse. You can take them to places they've never been before. Anytime you feel a negative feeling inside you, try it out today, because you will feel. They come all the time. They come all the time. And Yod al K's Yud K. Hashem says, I'm going to pick my hand up on this Yud K and just go zap. And all I want to do is, Haman, you're picking me up to a higher place than ever before. And you say to your feeling, you say, yep, I feel terrible. This is really, really, really bad. And you know what's going to happen now? Wow. How are you picking me up on my horse? How are you going to ride me and parade me through the streets? And what you do is you say to Hashem, okay, God, you got it. And you might need to daven, not to cry in davening and say, God, my life is terrible. Say, God, I'm so excited to watch you do a miracle for me now. Wow. And you'll pay attention when you do that. Give it a few minutes, give it half an hour. The feeling will dissipate. You'll feel wonderful again, and you'll see how much power you suddenly have to move on and to go till the next time it happens. Yep. And that's Haman, parading Mordechai through the streets of Shushan and saying, this is what Hashem wants. This guy, this Yid, this human being is living life the way Hashem wants him. And the Haman is just a negative force. Don't let the negative force bring you down. It's only designed to parade you through the streets and to make you a Purim. No greater holiday than Purim. And that's why in Purim, what do we say? Stop knowing everything. Just jump in and feel the embrace of Hashem. That's called ad lo yada. To reach the point you don't know why. I don't know why. I don't understand why. I just have emunah. I just feel Hashem's embrace in my life. That's called lo yoda. Because if you know everything, it doesn't go the right way. And every single day when we daven, close our eyes, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. He's one. He's here. He's there. What's with the problem? What problem? Disappeared. It disappears as if it was nothing, because Haman gets hanged on a gallows and it goes away, it runs away, and then you realize it's just a friend of yours. But don't lose the opportunity. Achashverosh says, Maher, quickly go do this. Because in not too long, Mashiach arrives, and Bila Hashem Amavis Lanetzach, there won't be any negativity. There won't be anything bad. It's Ruach HaTumah Aver Min Haaretz. There won't be any Tumah. And you'll say, man, I should have used that opportunity when I had that challenge. Because that challenge is your best friend. Embrace him and jump him. And you'll see miracles. Happy Purim Cotton.